best of the best.
Got no regrets. What's the plan? GSL. Kaboom, baby! Go on.
Welcome, guys, to the GSTL semifinals day number 1. I am Wolf, and as usual, with me is Kaldor.
Hey, how's it going, guys? We have a pretty exciting day ahead of us. We are here at the GSTL, and we have the first semifinal.
Yeah. And the teams, of course, are going to be TSL up against MVP. This is going to be an awesome match. These teams have made it so far already, so deep in the season.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you get this far, things feel a little bit different. You might have to change up how you've been using your team style so far.
Yep, I definitely agree. This is going to be epic. I cannot wait for the first few games. This is going to be so close. MVP traditionally does very, very well in the GSTL. They have a very strong lineup, especially these days with players like Sniper already in the round of 4 at Code S. And of course, TSL, well, they have also one of the semifinalists in the Code S with Hyun. And they have a lot of very good players on the roster.
Yeah, they certainly do. You know, I think that it may be time for MVP to really step up and take some names here, because right now they've got a great amount of strategies. That's what we saw them defeat LGIM with just last time, where they had all the strategies really that were necessary to defeat a team that has so many champions. But at the same time, sometimes brute skill, which is what TSL has, plus strategy, can be a little bit tough to handle.
The thing about MVP is that they have a really great lineup. It's not only about the individual skills, but it's also about the race distribution. They have a lot of Protoss players, Dirk players, Terran players that they can always use. So it's not like they're just heavy in one race. On the other hand, you have Team TSL, which is really struggling with the Protoss these days. They don't have any pros in the lineup. That's basically what I want to say. You only have value. And information that we will talk about later again is that Inori actually retired. He won't play StarCraft 2 anymore. He is transitioning over to LOL because he feels that in StarCraft 2 he can't make this splash.
Yeah. Well, here's, of course, our race distribution up on screen. You can see MVP broken down very evenly, unlike TSL, which is very Zerg heavy. Speaking of Zerg heavy, you can see Symbol up there as the top winner for the TSL team.
Yeah, Symbol having a 3-0 record in the GSTL so far. He's been doing really well in this season. The captain, of course, is Bolt for Team TSL and Killer for Team MVP, whereas the two Zerg players at the bottom right, Sniper and DRG, have been the most valuable players for Team MVP.
Yeah. And Sniper doing really well recently. I think he's kind of like the top dog. He may be coming out last instead of DRG, in fact, today.
Man, Sniper in the game against Leonark, he played so well. He's really something when it comes down to his CVZ. His mirror matchup is exceptional, but all the other matchups also, he's one of those players who I could see definitely take down any player on the TSL bench today.
He's so scary. You got to be careful about this guy. You know, he's someone who's risen to the top suddenly through... You know, this happens to the players sometimes, where you have a player who's always pretty good, he never really has a splash, and then suddenly, he's in the round of 4, suddenly he may make it to the finals, and that's crazy. That's a good story.
I mean, we had the pleasure of actually casting him all the time in Code A, but now he's made his huge splash in Code S, so he's definitely one of the players that the TSL has to watch out for today, but there are a lot of them on the bench.
Yeah. They definitely are.
One of the things that you guys need to watch out for is actually an offer that we have today at the GSL, because this is really crazy. When I heard about that, I was like, man, I'm going to purchase like 3 of them.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to tell some of my friends back in the States to buy it right away, because they're thinking about buying it, trying it out, and I'm going to tell them it's 50% off for 24 hours, so get on that. Not just buy it yourself if you haven't bought it, but tell everybody about it, because a lot of people may not know.
Guys, make sure that you open up a Reddit thread for that. So the GSL tickets, the yearly ticket and the season ticket currently is 50% off. That is so ridiculously cheap, I cannot actually put it into words. So make sure that this is upvoted on Reddit like immediately. Tweet about it, retweet it, Facebook about it, I don't care. This is the best chance that you have to actually purchase a GSL ticket. If you don't already have one, this is your chance. Make sure that your friends know about it. If you are looking for a Christmas present, this is actually the time to get one of these passes. That's the best thing that you can do. We're going to mention that later on as well.
Yeah, we'll make sure to remind you guys.
24 hours.
Yeah, 24 hours only. Not 25.
Yep.
You thought maybe 27, but you're wrong. It's 24 just for one day for Black Friday. Now, here comes out our first team. It is TSL.
Yeah, Team TSL here with Hyun at the front. There's Symbol. And of course, also Shine, Center, Bold. All of them are here today. Well, not really all of them. Revival is at IEM Singapore.
Yes.
But the rest of the team is in the studio. And man, these guys are ready.
They look ready. That is for sure.
Oh, Wolf, I can't wait for this team match. This is going to be so awesome. TSL versus MVP. There's a skill, the amount of really good players that we have on those two benches is crazy.
The teamwork, the family mindset that you get just makes me feel up Ohana all the time when I watch them get there and put their hands in.
Team Ohana, right there.
Yeah, certainly so. A lot of people call them Team Zerg because their Zerg players are the players you want to watch out for.
And Jan was joking around earlier. He met Sniper already in Code A last season and he was able to win with the 2-0. Since then, of course, Sniper has developed a lot. But Jan was joking, was like, well, if Sniper comes out, I'm just gonna take him out right away. Sniper is easy. Yeah. And of course, he immediately said, like, no, it's just a joke. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So Sniper is really strong and scary. But yeah, they are in really good spirits. And he, of course, is the roster.
Yep, starting with Terrans as Polt is captain. We have Center as his tag team partner. The only two Terrans on the roster.
The Zerg players with Ragnarok, Jan, Symbol, and Shine.
Wouldn't want to face any of those. And of course, Value being the final and only Protoss, as you mentioned before. Inori is retired, has moved on to League of Legends.
Exactly. Inori won't be playing StarCraft 2 anymore. He feels that he's not strong enough in this game. He was able to qualify for the last season of Code A, but then dropped out again and decided it's time to change games, but he won't be successful in StarCraft 2.
Yep. Don't blame him for his thoughts on that.
No, not really.
Him to the future. And Shine is trying to fix his hairdo, but you know what? I think it looked just fine before that, man. Don't stress.
You know, he just ran into the studio. I think he wasn't at the makeup room yet, and he didn't get his makeup or his hat on or anything. He just ran up the stairs when I walked backstage to get a coffee. But let's have a quick look at Team MVP Gangsta style with that intro music.
Yeah, that's not a normal jacket, by the way, that we see on...
it's a Razor jacket.
Yeah, it's a new Razor jacket.
Yeah. There's so many of them in the studio today. And just look at this scary bunch. We have players like Keen, there's Sniper, we have Monster, TRG, Tails, of course, as well.
Dream. This is a group of scary players. How Dream played yesterday, man, I would not be surprised to see him come out.
You know, all of these MVP players these days are doing just so well. In Code S, in Code A, wherever they participate, they take down strong opponents.
Yeah, MVP is definitely on the rise right now. Every single one of their players is looking better and better. They're going up.
Yeah. There was a time when they really shine, when they were able to shine in the team league, but in the individual league they only had like 1 or 2 players that did decently well. But these days, every single one of them is a monster and a very tough opponent to face.
Yeah, especially MVP Monster.
Yeah, of course.
Now you can see everybody who is really important is on that bench. I mean, nobody really slacking off. No one's a no-show here.
They're having a lot of fun here. And here's the roster. A quick look at their lineup. We are starting, of course, with the Protoss players, as Killer is the captain of the team. Here they are.
Yep. Oh, well, actually, Dongray Goose still listed as the first here. Sniper and Monster, so don't be fooled. These are all Zerg players.
Yeah, they tricked me. Terran players with Keen and Noblesse.
And the massive lineup of Protosses that they have. Here they are. We've got Killer, Tails, Lure, Finale, and Vampire.
Who's that at the Killer picture? That's not Killer. That is definitely not Killer.
That
looked kind of fancy. It was a suit that threw me off for a second, but
I was trying to figure out who that was, but I couldn't figure that out, actually.
That's Killer. The guy to the bottom left here on the bench. He'll be on the camera in just a second. There he is.
Yeah.
And that in this picture, that was not Killer.
No, definitely not. And it definitely wasn't even like Genius.
You know, GSTL, the production team always does that. They want to make sure that we pay attention.
They're just making sure you're checking.
It's a test, guys. It's a test.
One day it's like my face is going to be up there from when I was on FXO.
It's not a bug, guys. It's a feature. It's a caster test.
For sure.
The casters pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah, if we don't notice, actually, they take us out back afterwards and give us a very strict scolding.
You know what's going on in game number 1? We have a Zerg versus Protoss while Wolf is opening up his Hot 6 can.
Yeah, I try to do it kind of subtly, but I'm like, well, you know, if they hear it, it's fine. It's our main sponsor, so it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. I tried that a couple of times and then I just realized that it's not really working. People on Reddit and on Team Liquid are always pointing out, Calder, did you just open up that Hot 6 can? I'm like, yeah, I guess I kind of did.
Well, don't be fooled. This is not Revival. This is Ragnarok. I don't know why I said that, but in case you thought it was Revival, you'd be mistaken. This is Ragnarok, the opening Zerg player for TSL.
And he has the most wins for his team in the GSTL. He's actually on the rank 3 in the ranking, in the individual ranking. He has 4 wins and 2 losses in this Team League season.
Nearing average wins of 2.0. That is an awesome record to have in Team League. That means you're always valuable for your team. You've never really failed them. Or at the very least, you've succeeded more than failed for your team.
And on the other hand, we have a very strong Protoss opponent that was able to make a bit of a splash in the last few weeks. It is the Protoss player. I'm just gonna spoil it, guys. I'm sorry. It's Finale. We'll have it on camera in a second.
You're a spoiler, man.
Yeah, I know. I feel like spoiler too.
He's got a hot pad because it is getting a little bit colder outside. You know, I have this terrace that goes around my house, and I left my door open just a little bit last night, I guess, because when I woke up in the morning, I was freezing. But then I closed it and everything was okay.
I have the same, especially if it's windy in Korea. It's getting really, really cold. But well, we went Hong Kong just recently, and all those outlet stores are awesome. I bought so many new clothes. I'm set for this winter wolf. I actually bought a coffee machine today. Finally, some decent European coffee. I'm so happy.
You're just buying everything, man. But you know, Maxime is the standard. I can't believe you're gonna let that go.
No, man. Winter is coming. You have to prepare accordingly, and there is nothing that beats European coffee.
You're like the ant in the story of the ant and the grasshopper, man. You're always preparing. I'm the ant. I'm like, I'll be fine.
Man,
I'll
like
buy a hot pad from the convenience store. It's okay.
In 2 weeks, you will come and beg me, Carlo, can I please have a decent cup of coffee?
We'll see, man.
This Korean coffee drives me crazy. I want something genuine.
Once I try it, maybe for the first time, one of your coffees, I'll have to change my outlook on things.
It's just normal coffee, but they don't have it here.
Well,
So
looks
sad.
like Ragnarok is cracking his knuckles. He is ready to go. Finale has his hot pad. His hands aren't going to be cold in there. Be careful not to touch your face with that, though. That's dangerous.
Yeah, that stuff is sometimes a little bit weird. I actually broke one of these hot packs, and then these chemicals, the sand stuff or whatever is in there was on my hands, and I'm like, ooh, that's probably not too healthy.
Yeah, definitely not. Be careful about that.
But those things are quite awesome. We had 3 hot packs in the GSL studio all the time. I don't know where they are.
Yeah, you know, those do get to be expensive, because especially when you got Wolf with the suit, because he's going to sneak 3 into his pocket before he goes home just to make sure he's okay. He's got one in his back pocket and one in each hand. He's going to be totally fine the way
Don't
home.
worry about that. I did the same thing, and I bet everyone did. They are awesome.
Well, Cloud Kingdom is map number 1. It is loading right now. These are the GSTL semifinals. It's day 1. TSL up against MVP. Let's jump into game number 1 on Cloud Kingdom.
2, 1, go! Feed my motor!
Cloud Kingdom map number 1 between TSL and MVP. We have a Zerg versus Protoss on our hands. Starting to the bottom left, it's the TSL player. His ideas.
TSL Ragnarok!
He's currently the best player for Team TSL in the Team League. He's ranked 3rd in the individual rankings, 4 wins, 2 losses. And he is up against a Protoss player. Starting for Team MVP to the top right. Yes.
MVP Finale!
Ironically, the finale starts early today.
Yep. It's not first.
No. Well, no camera shot, just said there he is. He forgot to put his headset on. Gotta be careful about that. We gotta show the headsets on screen.
Yeah, and of course this is always a big concern. Maybe he heard now where his opponent is starting.
Maybe so.
Now we had that a couple of times in, I mean, in the GSL guys, all these, everyone has his own booth, so there's actually white noise in the booth.
You can't hear anything, even if you take your headset off, you won't be able to hear anything. I mean,
But back in the days in Warcraft 3, for example, when this whole tournament scene in Europe just developed, we had this problem a couple of times where a player could really hear where his opponent started on a 4-player map or even on an 8-player map that we occasionally had. That really changes the course of things, so that was a bit of a concern. Here in Korea at the GSL, this is not a problem. And we have a bit of annoying micro here by Finale, look at that.
You know, if he keeps this up, that mineral patch is actually going to disappear.
That was really well done.
Yeah,
Steals
really.
a few minerals, makes sure that he screws up the mining of his opponent, and always stops before the probe has this mineral patch that it has right now.
Yeah, really great job there. Boom, down goes the Nexus. Nexus first here with the scouting information he has. He feels comfortable. Would not be surprised to see the pylon block after the Forge if he can keep this probe alive long enough.
And while we have very normal build orders emerging from both players, I want to point out once again, if you're just watching the VOD or if you're catching this game a little bit later, that there is actually a Black Friday special at the GSL today. It only lasts for 24 hours, so if you're watching it live right now, make sure to go on Reddit, upvote that thread if there is one. If there's no thread, then create one and let people know, because all the tickets, well, not all the tickets, but the yearly ticket and the season ticket for the GSL is 50% off, and you would be crazy if you don't get one.
Yeah. You know, I actually really love reaching out to VOD viewers, because oftentimes you recognize when someone tweets at you as a VOD viewer, responding to something that you said, and you feel like you communicate through time.
Yeah.
You actually communicate through time.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I actually had so many people after the cast that we did yesterday tweeted me because I mentioned Hilltop Hoods and told everyone to check them out. Best hip-hop band, in my opinion, from Australia, from Adelaide. If you haven't watched the cast yesterday and heard it here for the first time, definitely make sure to check them out on YouTube. You won't regret it.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool because when we talk to people who are watching the VODs, it's actually like we are from the future. And when you tell someone to do something, it's like we've already seen it, but they haven't seen it yet, and we're kind of from the future. It's interesting. I like to think about that sometimes, Calder.
The future or the past?
Well, we are from the past, but in the sense that if I tell someone that I know something, it's like I've known it before them, like I'm from the future, because it's their present at that time, but it is the past. So it's very complicated, you see. It's past, present, and future all at once. It's insane.
We're time travelers.
Basically, yeah, through the internet. Speed has started pretty early here, in fact.
Yeah, he goes for a bit of a faster speed, and we'll find out what exactly he's going to do with it. At this point, he's just droning up. Ragnarok, of course, that is.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty interested in what exactly Finale is going to do here. His tech is, well, the cybernetics core is already done, so he can reveal his tech. Are we going to see a Stargate, which is quite common on this map, or a more normal robotics tech for him?
Yeah, I'm wondering about that as well, because the MVP Pros players are more known for their build orders, especially Tails and Finale, than their actual late game. And I wonder if we're going to see something special here.
A lot of gas for him.
Yeah.
Taking a simulator number 3 and number 4, focusing a little bit on the sentries, even chrono boosting them right now.
There's the robotics going down as well. In a nice hidden location. It's impossible for the Overlords to get in and see that.
There is no way the Overlord can sneak in there, you're so right. And for his opponent, for Ragnarok, we now have the third base. He's heading straight into another hatch, and it does look like he is not going for some kind of all-the game aggression, which is, of course, against this type of build. Against Protoss, pretty unusual. You sometimes can try to overwhelm your opponent, but usually a Zerg is quite confident in just staying back, waiting for the Protoss player to move out, and then trying to crush this attack.
You're so right. Double evolution chambers going down now for Ragnarok. Back at home, and you see the Ro4 come down fairly soon, most likely. With the early link speed he has, he's got a lot of map control, he can buy a lot of time with that. You see that Twilight Council coming down here pretty quickly as well for Finale. There's a lot of different things to do. We may see that push where we have +2 and Blink with observers. More likely, more recently, he's just going to go for a quick blink and take a third base with it, but both opportunities are there. And oh no, a miss here, and he doesn't get a force field either. Wow, what?
That's the worst case scenario right there. Yes, I cannot believe that happened.
I'm still in a little bit of shock myself, and he's going for the Overlord instead of the Lings. He's got to be much more proactive about chasing those down. Nice trap here, but he is going to mess up his mining a little bit.
And the scouting information, this is of course one of the biggest problems for Finale now. Ragnarok knows everything that's going on. He's in the main base, he's throwing the timings off just a little bit, And this is just really awesome for the TSL player.
Yep.
That should never have happened.
Yeah, indeed. Chrono Boost his Observer out. He is getting Blink, and +1 is coming out here very soon as well. He has now a total of 6 gateways, and this may just be your stereotypical 6 gateways into the Nexus. He is getting the Nexus up now, but he hasn't made a cannon just yet. Once you make the cannon, that's when you say, I'm taking this Nexus no matter what, and that's what Ragnarok wants to look for, because he knows this could be a cancel. It could be a fake. He's seeing only the Nexus. He sees no cannons.
And Ragnarok is going full air. He's adding 12 additional drones, +1/+1. He's completely happy with now droning up. He already saw that there's a third base, so he wants to make sure that he has the better economy. Whereas, yeah, Finale doesn't really have a lot that he can push out with now. He's heading into Robotics Bay, but it's not going to be like he's trying to push and do some damage. He just wants to secure himself a third base, which is a pretty passive style that he's playing here.
Yeah. Nice block there on the Lings. He doesn't make very many Lings as he knows that this expansion is going to be pretty tough to attack. Quick Infestation bit coming down to the 10-minute mark here is really nice for Ragnarok. If he can get those Infestors out, he's already got decent upgrades for his Lings. He's got 1-1 finishing up right now. He's going to find himself in a pretty good spot. Now he's seeing the cannon, and it's what he wanted to see. When you see the cannon, that's the one where you're like, okay, no cancel. He also could have possibly seen that Nexus finished, but seeing the cannon here is good enough.
Ragnarok is most likely going to add a fourth base pretty soon in this game. He's already heading into the Infestation pit. He's getting Boro, he's getting the speed upgrade for his Roaches, and there's actually the fourth.
Yeah. There were 2 Zealots there, actually, I thought. He was going to keep them on hold position, but he messed that up a little bit. But that was pretty cool. After 2 Zealots back-to-back on a Watchtower, they can kill almost Infinity Lings.
And we currently also see the Spire coming up, so he really wants to head into these Broodlords compositions. A little bit of a task force has been sent out here, but if, to be honest with you, if the TSL Zerg is playing this well, he could actually crush this force.
Yeah, he wants to trap it. He's got a lot of Lings, but that's what these Force Seals are going to be for. And
he doesn't really have it now.
Yeah, it's just not quite. If he had a larger army, which oftentimes he will have in this situation, then he could have definitely crushed that force. And I think that's why Finale decided to move out, because he saw 2 things. He saw the 4th hatchery, and he saw there weren't very many units. He knew that the timing of the 4th base, there wasn't going to be very much, so he was like, alright, I can actually get away with my army, and I can probably kill this 4th base. And even with additional Lings and these Roaches, he should be able to get home in time and be able to set up a defense at the 3rd base.
I actually think that this attack from Finale was really smart. He just pokes out, takes down the hatch, cancels it, and moves back. So this was all that he needed to do.
Yeah.
And it gives him a little bit of breathing room here.
Oh, a great trap on these Lings as well by Finale.
That was really, really well done. Those force fields were perfect, and now all the Lings are gone. Just a few minerals they're missing for Ragnarok now. But the TSL Zerg has now quite the force on the map, and this makes it a lot easier for him to secure himself this 4th base that he's trying to get.
Yeah. I just thought about something really weird. Do you ever think about ammo in StarCraft 2? There's like unlimited for every unit.
Yeah.
This is unexplainable. This is like quite literally the first time I've thought of this. I'm like, alright, so that Marine's Gauss Rival is just never going to out. That missile turret, how many missiles does he have on the missile turret, really? Usually you don't see very many, but I mean, what if someone flew a command center over, hold that thought, a huge Ling run by here, but he's going to be shut down. What if somebody flies a command center over a missile turret to make it waste all its missiles, then he comes with a Banshee later for harassment? Or a drop, potentially. That would be more effective, probably in TVT.
I would really like to say that it is a really smart idea, but it sounds a little bit silly.
I don't know, man. Maybe a
Fly
barracks.
your own command center
Maybe
to the
a barracks,
top right.
A barracks would probably be more efficient.
Yeah, I don't think that we have to concern ourselves with questions like ammo. And I'm actually really happy about that, to be honest.
I don't know, man. At Legacy of the Void, they might introduce an ammo mechanic, I'm sure.
No, they won't.
I'm sure they're going to do it, man. It's got to be really realistic. They're also going to make everything to scale.
They might introduce new types of rocks, but I think that's it.
Yeah? There might be cloaked rocks, I heard.
Ooh.
You need detector to kill the rocks.
That is actually really interesting.
Yeah, you have to make a turret, and then you can kill the rocks.
Dustin is taking notes.
11 spines finishing up right now. Ragnarok, he's been so aggressive, he's been able to keep his opponent off his back, but because he lost so many army units, like his Lings, he doesn't really have a very defensive force, so he's got to make these spines so he can get the Broodlords out.
You know, the one thing that really concerns me a little bit is that MVP Finale is playing this very, very passive. He's sending out now the Warp Prism, and I love that he's trying to put on a bit of aggression, but so far the TSL Zerg has been able to establish himself a 4th. He's trying to get a 5th right now. His Hive Tech is nearly done. Even though he has all these Spires, he's building 15... Spine Crawlers. He's building 15 additional ones. This looks like Ragnarok is really trying to play as safe as possible, heading into Broodlords and making sure that there is no way for Finale to attack him.
This Finale is playing this like the puppeteer, man. He actually is pulling all the strings. He's now forced the army to be at the bottom right, and he's going to attack. I did not expect him to attack into these spines like this, though.
There are 15 of them, and they're infestors. You can't attack into this.
Yeah, I thought he was actually just going to corner the Lings away from the spines, but in this case, he's doing the opposite. He's not as puppeteerish as I thought, but either way, he's trying to break through here while the Lings are out of position. The Archons here are doing a lot of area of effect damage. The Colossus, though, will go down.
Yeah, nice micro here on the Corruptors. Even though a lot of them are dying, he has to back off now, and this base is still safe, and suddenly MVP Finale lost most of his army supply.
Yeah.
This was a bit of a suicidal attack.
But this is still scary. He's got a very strong army here. He needs to pull behind the mineral line, I feel, and start to go for the drones at the very least if he wants to do this. Attacking straight on is not going to work forever.
Yeah, he's going to move in again, and with all these Archons, you know, he's doing a lot more damage than I thought he would do. I really like his targeting down the Warp Prism in the main base. That was really, really smart.
See, now he's got to pull out here, and now he finds himself a little bit trapped. But with good force fields, he turns the tables. There's a little bit more DPS in this army than I feel Ragnarok can handle right now. He's moving Spine Crawlers down. They're really just going to buy him a little bit of time. The invested Terrans here about the timeout. He doesn't have a lot of DPS.
Yeah, this Archon push is so beefy. He really does a lot of damage here, and the 4th phase is gone. We suddenly have the MVP player taking a lead in supply. And this is really tough for Ragnarok to hold, especially since he doesn't really have the resources to get his Broodlords.
Yeah, a little bit more harassment in the main base with those Zealots. They're very low on hit points, but they're still doing damage. And Ragnarok looks like he's just not going to survive here.
Where's the Great Aspire Wolf?
It's right under their noses, and there it goes dead.
Yeah, Great Aspire is being killed, and unbelievable. He pushed through, and this attack, centering around gateway units and Archons, really did a number on Ragnarok here.
Yeah, that was it. You know, I feel like it was weird for him to blink into those spines like that, but with the composition he had, he just didn't care. He was like, well, you don't have Broodlords yet, so I'm fine. I'm just going to fight you here.
You don't really see that every day, a Protoss player willing to attack into this many Spine Crawlers. There were 20 in total, I feel. So this was really, really, I mean, well thought out by Finale. He looked at things and he was like, okay, you have a lot of Spine Crawlers, but I have enough. I have more. And with my Archons, I can just break through. Those Zerglings won't do anything against me. Finale takes game 1, and therefore Team MVP in the lead.
Yeah. There, got that good grin on his face. And everybody know how happy he is. And you can see a little bit of frustration here from Bolt himself grabbing onto his hair.
You know, the thing is that in a game like this, in the semifinal of the GSTL, when you're up against this team like MVP, you don't want to, you don't want to toy around. You need some of your big guns right now.
Yeah.
I feel that with this many good players on the bench for Team MVP, TSL has to take this very, very serious.
Yeah.
This is going to be a close one, and
I think it's time for Shine, to be honest. I would put Shine out here.
Yeah, I could see Shine.
I think they might do something like putting Center out. I'm not sure, though.
Senna actually did really, really well in the last games that he played.
He's looking better than before, for sure.
You know, the thing about Senta is, I like the idea of putting Senta now up against Finale, because Senta was able to win against Seed, so he really prepared for the matchup against Protoss, and this might be one of the advantages that Team TSL tries to go with now. We'll find out soon.
Yeah, I mean, whenever Seed was... If you didn't watch it, definitely a little bit weird.
Those force fields were just not spot on, were they?
Seed was playing a little bit off. But at the same time, Sinner didn't make any real mistakes. He looked like a solid player there. So you're right. I think to use him against a Protoss would make sense. Plus, he's not one of your top-notch players. You save those for later if you put him out now. You choose a map that you really like to use him on. Probably got to build a plan if they're going to use him. I like using Center. I also like using Shine here as well.
Yeah, if you use Shine or Center, you of course limit your options for later. Players like Pole, like Hyun and Symbol, these are players that I would actually expect to see today. So you have 3 of them. You can add a 4th. But, well, is it going to be Shine? Is it going to be Center? Is it going to be someone else? It is Hold. What? Not what I expected for the second player.
Holt, man, his hoodie may cover up part of his name, but I gotta say, putting him out here is pretty sick.
That's really sick. For the second player, usually you see Pole pretty late in the team match.
This means they are really not messing around.
Yeah, and they shouldn't. They should take this very serious. MVP definitely does, and Pole is now pinned up against Finale to take a game, tie the series, blows into the earpiece.
His percentage of wins in GSTL as of late has been a bit shaky, though. You can see his counter success rate is only 37.5. He's also got an overall 3 and 10 here. Despite being a top-notch Code S player, he just doesn't seem to be on his game in Team League these days. Maybe more preparation-oriented, but knowing his first opponent here is Finale, and knowing that he would come out second to prepare to play against me, he has a lot of time to prepare for sure.
Yeah, and we are heading, of course, now into a short break before we start with game number 2. It's going to be Pole versus Finale at the GSTL with MVP up against Team TSL. See you in a few.
Yeah, she had me make believing she gets just what she wants, and then